What's up everyone, it's Matt Mrozik, aka MVM397 with a little tutorial for you real quick. So the other day on Facebook I posted a bunch of pictures of parts I clear coated with this clear I got off of Amazon. Now this is an automotive clear, it's called U-Pol. It's a universal, I think it's an acrylic urethane. It doesn't say it on here, but I believe if you look this up, it's an acrylic urethane. This is the same type of clear coat that I used to use when I painted cars. You know what you're getting. If you want to get the same stuff I'm using, just make sure it says 20:88, and you can buy it as a kit. So this is the clear coat right here, and this is the hardener. So it comes as a 4-to-1 kit, so it's 4 parts clear to 1 part hardener, and it's got a bunch of little funny symbols here on the jug. Let me show them to you. So basically it says here, these are basically the steps you want to do. You want to sand your surface with nothing lower than 600 to 800 grit sandpaper. Wipe it down, wipe your surface down. Reduce the clear, 4 parts clear to 1 part hardener. Spray it. Now this is a 1.3 and a 1.6. That is referring to the nozzle size if you're using an HVLP gun, or a high volume, low pressure gun. Same kind of gun you'd use if you were painting an entire car or a full size, something big. I'm just spraying it through my airbrush with the 0.5 nozzle on it. Work goes through just fine, no problems whatsoever. You could probably get away with a 0.35 nozzle. It might be a little thick, and there's no way to over thin this. You don't want to put too much hardener in because it may kick it off too quick and you'll reduce your working time. So it doesn't tell you what the pot life is. Pot life meaning how long do you have before this stuff starts to solidify. In my little sample that I made up the other day, I mixed it up in my typical mixing cup that I normally use, like this. And I would say you have about an hour pot life, meaning that once you mix it up, you have about an hour to get it sprayed. After about an hour 15, hour 20 minutes, it started to get to the point where I would not feel comfortable putting it into my airbrush. Now this stuff self-levels very, very nicely. If you saw any of my photos on Facebook, you'll see how this stuff looks, and I'll give you a couple examples. Because these parts I'm going to spray now have already been clear coated, but I'm going to do them again because I have decals on them. And if you can just see in the light there, the kind of reflection I'm getting, the kind of highlight it's getting, this stuff sprays on and levels out to it looks liquid. It looks so shiny. This is no sanding, no buffing. There's absolutely no orange peel in there, as you can see. It just goes on super nice. So now there is a little trick to getting this to spray this way. In order for it to get to spray this slick, you have to put it on relatively wet. The trick with that is making sure you don't run it, because you'll spray it on nice and wet and then you'll come back 10 minutes later and you may see a run or a sag in the clear coat. I actually had one on one of the shield parts, but luckily as it cured and leveled out, the sag kind of went away and you don't notice, you don't know where it is. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to reduce this stuff and spray it, and just kind of give you some recommendations. And if you're not used to using this stuff, I would give it a shot, because typically I use the Mr. Clear GX Super Clear, and I wanted to give this a try because this kit together, shipped from Amazon, was less than $40. I want to say it's like 35 bucks. To get the same amount of clear that I get here in the Mr. Color GX would be like $385. If I went out and bought enough little jars of Mr. Clear to get the same amount of this, it'd be about $385. So quite a bit of savings. You get the durability of an automotive quality clear coat. This stuff, once it cures, is hard as a rock. I mean, I've tried to scratch it with my fingernail. I can't. I've even taken a wood skewer to it. It won't scratch. Now, if you take something metal to it, it's going to scratch. Just think of it as your car finish, It's pretty durable. So it gives you a really nice, super glossy, durable surface. So I'm going to come back in a second. I'm going to open my garage door and get things going, and we'll reduce them and do some spraying. Be right back. All right, you have to excuse me. It's going to be a little loud because I have my my air booth going to kind of help vent it out at the bottom of my garage. I don't need a whole lot of this clear coat mixed up. I've only got about 10 parts of spray. I'm not going to show you spraying every single part. I'll spray a few parts just to give you an idea of how it goes on. So I'm only going to mix up like I'd rather mix up a little more than not enough. So I'm going to mix, so this is a 4-to-1 ratio. To keep my math simple, I'll do 10 cc's of the clear and then 2.5 cc's of the hardener. That would give me a 4-to-1 ratio. So I'm just going to do it off camera here real quick. Alright, so there's our 10 mils, sorry, 10 mils of the clear. Right there, 10 mils clear. And now to that, I'm going to add 2.5 mils of the hardener. Giving me a total of 12.5 mils of sprayable clear. And you want to try to be pretty accurate with this. Like I said, you don't want to add too much hardener, especially on a hot day, because temperature will affect its cure time. This is something that is not like a lacquer clear where it dries and you can handle it within a few hours. You have to let this sit 24 hours because, like I said, after about 8 hours, it's not tacky anymore, but it will hold a fingerprint. So if you were to go pick up your part after about 8 hours, and start handling it, you would leave a fingerprint. 24 hours, you're good to go. Heat and humidity will have effect on how it dries. I did spray this on a rainy day. It didn't have any effect on it fogging or anything. And I even sprayed my my flat coat last night on all the armor parts, and it was very humid outside. And I typically don't do that, but I tried a few pieces. I waited for it to dry and see if it fogged. It didn't get any fogging, so I went ahead and did it. It turned out fine. All right, so here I have my 12.5 cc's of clear. I'm going to shoot this through my Iwata Neo. I bought an Iwata Neo airbrush a couple months ago. It's a really good airbrush. It's like a $65 airbrush. You can probably get it on Amazon for about $50-$55. And I only use this airbrush. This is strictly for clear coat. That's all I use it for. I made fun of Jim and Boo once because he said he had an airbrush and all he used it was for clear. I tell you what, as he would tell you, nothing's worse than going to spray your final top coat on like a white part or a gray part and having a speck of something come out that's black from a previous color. So that's a strictly only clear coat airbrush. So we're going to start off with something simple. And let me raise my tripod up here. And I'm going to spray this at my typical like 20 psi. I'm going to actually raise my psi just a little bit, just to get to atomize a little bit better. Because for this round of clear, I don't want to put a lot on. These parts have quite a bit already. I put 2 pretty good wet coats on, and that's what got so shiny. So I'm going to raise this up. First thing I'm going to spray is this part. This goes on the backpack, and this is actually the button that turns the lights on. So a couple of things I've started doing, which I should have done a long time ago, just because I used to paint cars for a living. Start using a tack cloth, which is, you get these on Amazon. Get a low tack, no residue tack cloth, and it's simple. It's cheesecloth, and it's got a little stickiness on it. And some are really, really sticky to the point where if you go to wipe it on your piece, it'll leave a residue. These are low tack, no residue tack cloth. So just sticky enough to get all the dust off, but not too sticky to leave residue. And I bought a box of 24, and that will last me for probably 2 or 3 years. Okay, so I got my clear coat in here. I've got my airbrush. This is actually set at about 30 psi because for whatever reason, the Neo requires more air pressure than my other airbrushes. And I don't know why. It's weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't know if this will show up. So, like if I can spit it out. I don't talk very well on camera because I'm thinking and trying to talk at the same time, and my brain doesn't work too well like that. As I've always done in the past when I've done clear coat tutorials, what I'm going to do, and this is hard because I'm trying to shoot through the camera, through the camera and do this. I'm going to use my light up here. I have a little desk lamp up here that I use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray, so when I'm spraying I catch a highlight. So if you see that nice bright highlight, like right there, I want to see that. I want to see the texture of the paint, of the clear coat as it goes on. So first of all, I'm just going to do what I typically do, do kind of a little dust coat. Just like that. And now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to lay on one wet coat. and that's it. That's all I'm going to spray. And now this looks pretty damn smooth already, but as this cures, this will actually slick out even more. So that piece is done. Pretty simple. Do another one. Let's do the head. So these pieces I'm doing again, these have already been clear coated, but the reason I'm doing them again is because I put a decal on them, and I want to try to hide that decal. So again, here's the one of the heads. This is again the kit I'm working on is a 1/72 Jag Dogger conversion from G-System Shop. So here's the head with the decal. Again, I'm just going to kind of do a real quick dusting of it. I'm just going to give it a second to tack up. This isn't like lacquer, you have to let it tack up real, for too much. And now I'm just going to go on a wet coat real quick. So what I suggest you do, if you want to try this, get yourself some plastic spoons, throw some paint on it, and practice spraying it. See how wet you can get it. You want to put it on as wet as you can without running. And there's that. Let's see if it'll focus. But that is like, I don't know if it shows up in camera, but there's no orange peel. There's no texture. It is smooth as glass. So that piece is done. Let's do a bigger piece. So this kit actually has two of these armor pieces, but this one has a decal on it. And I actually have a little wrinkle in the decal here that I was unable to get rid of. So I'm going to put a little bit more clear coat on this than I normally would. So I'm going to try to get enough clear coat on there that if I have to later, I can wet sand this and polish it out. So another advantage to using this clear coat is that's what they call it, a high solid. I mean, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say pigment because there's no color, but a lot of solids in the clear coat, which allows you to later, if you want to, wet sand and buff this out. So in the past when I used to paint cars for a living, I would put on probably, depending on how slick it came out, I'd probably put on 4 nice coats of clear coat. And then to get that, show car finish, you get wet sanded with 2000 grit wet sandpaper, and then you buff it out. So that same concept can apply here too. So just making sure there's no dust on here, because if you get dust under there, you're never going to get it out. All right, so it looks pretty good. I'm going to spray the underside first. Not that you're going to see that, but I just like to do it anyway. And again, I'm just going to put on a couple wet coats here. One wet coat. Here's 2. And there it is. So we'll let that settle for a while, and we'll see if that wrinkle starts to hide a little bit. I'm hoping that if I put enough clear on here, I may have gone a little heavy. Let's see if you can see it on the edge there. Just a little bit on the edge there. I'm starting to get a little bit of a sag, so I went too heavy. So if I left the part like this, it would continue to sag. I'm actually going to tilt it on the side like this to dry, and hopefully it'll help level that out a little bit. But right there on camera, I went a little too heavy, and I'm getting a little bit of a sag. Nothing bad. But I can see it as I'm sitting here just holding it like this, is starting to go away. And it's pretty humid out today. We're expecting some pretty bad weather this afternoon. So right now the humidity is probably like 80%. So I have to be careful that I don't put this on too wet, because it's going to take longer to dry. The other head, which again has a decal on it, so that's why I'm doing it again. So really the only way to get rid of, when you're doing a clear coat like this and to get rid of a decal edge, would be to put enough clear on to wet sand and polish it out to get rid of that edge. On a small piece like this, I don't know if that's even possible to sand on that top, because you'd probably go through very quickly. But already that's looking like it's a painted on decal. Alright, we got the fin funnels. Now these were previously clear coated with Mr. Color clear, but now there's a decal on them, and I want to make those blend in a little bit better, so I'm going to shoot it with this stuff, and they'll be even shinier. You can see I'm going pretty quick. I'm not going slow. And let's see. If I see a little texture, I just go back and hit it again real quick. I'm using this light up here to catch a highlight to see how smooth it is. And that looks pretty good. I'm not seeing any orange peel or anything. Another trick is, like with any other time you're spraying clear, you want to keep a wet edge. You don't want a dry edge because that will show up later. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and, you can probably just do all these on camera. There's not that many. It took me probably 10 minutes to do these. Another nice advantage to this clear coat that I found out that it is impervious to lighter fluid. So what I did is, because I wanted to do some enamel painting and enamel washes on some of the panel lines, I took a spoon that I had tested the clear coat on, and I just basically filled a little cup of lighter fluid and put it in there, and it didn't have any effect on the clear coat. I know sometimes one reason I don't do enamel panel lines is because the Mr. Clear will eventually get eaten by your lighter fluid. Even though it's not a lacquer paint or lacquer product, after a while it will soften up that Mr. Color Clear and you'll go through. So that's why I kind of stay away from those, because I always tend to go through my clear coat using those. So that's why I use the Indie ink pens. So the main advantage of this clear coat is that it's inexpensive compared to Mr. Color. It is super durable. It self-levels very, very nicely over the period of 6 to 8 hours, depending on temperature and humidity. It is easily wet sanded and buffed later if you need to do so, depending on the piece, obviously. The more complicated the piece, the harder it is to wet sand and buff. I guess I could keep talking while I do this. I may have to mix up some more clear, because the last two pieces I have are big. All these pieces are pretty small. As you can see, I'm putting it on pretty quick, but it's going on wet. I'm pulling back on the trigger quite a bit. This is not like dusting it on. I think I may have some moisture in my line. Oh, another thing is that you do not want to let this cure in your airbrush. You'll probably have to throw your airbrush away if you do so. It will turn into a rock, as hard as a rock, and you probably won't even be able to get your needle out. So, oops, I just spilled some, unfortunately, so I'll have to mix up some more. That stuck to my glove. And this does leave sticky overspray, so make sure you don't have any other parts around. Even though I'm in the air booth, this is kind of blown back a little bit back at me. I moved all my other parts that I had flat coated to another area of the garage, because this will leave overspray and you won't be able to get it off. Alright, I only got 3 more pieces, and I'm done clear coating. So let's go ahead and knock them out. If I hadn't put decals on these, I want to clear coat them again, but since I did, I want to try to get them to blend in a little bit. not going on as smooth as I would like right there for some reason. I think I get moisture in my line. Something get moisture, but it only happens when I pull on the trigger, so that's kind of interesting. Just looking to make sure I'm looking at my parts here to make sure I didn't need any runs, because they'll get on pretty heavy. Double checking everything. Sorry I'm not on camera right now. I'm just double checking these parts I just sprayed because I want to make sure I'm not getting any runs, and I think we're okay. Alright, so I got 2 more pieces. I'll just spray one on camera because they're pretty big and cumbersome, and I don't want to screw these up. But so like I said, this is U-Pol. I believe it's an acrylic urethane. I thought it was an acrylic, an enamel, but I'm sorry, urethane enamel, but I think it's an acrylic urethane. It doesn't say it on here on the on this jug. Let's see if it says anywhere. It says for car body repair. It doesn't say what this is. I think if you look it up on Amazon, it calls it an acrylic, but it is a urethane, I know that. Alright, so we got these 2 big guys. These are the big shoulder, I don't know, pieces. And these are going to stay shiny, so I'm going to throw some clear on these again, because again, they have decals on them, and I want to get those to look painted on a little bit more than they are. So I'm just going to do a quick brush with the pack rag. I'm gonna break the stick on there so I can get into the spray booth more. Alright, we're gonna I'm gonna do this real quick. It's a big piece, so I'll work fast. Trying to keep a wet edge. I just hit a little extra where the decal is. But if it looks smooth all over, I don't spray anymore. There's no need to. It's a little dry up here. I hit that again. Hit the whole side. Looks like it didn't get hit very well. And then we'll check the back side. Hit that one more time. The trick is if you start to spray, you kind of have to spray another coat because you'll get a dry edge, and it'll definitely show up later. So again, I'm trying to do this while looking through the camera. It's hard to do. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. I'll probably throw another coat on. But I think you get the idea. So, U-Pol, I believe it's an acrylic urethane. Super nice, tough, clear coat. Inexpensive. About $30, $35 for this kit, which I believe is a liter. Yeah, 1 liter. So, like I said, the same amount of this and Mr. Clear would be like $350, $385. So, do the math. It is pretty nasty. I'm not wearing a respirator right now so I can talk, but I actually did buy a respirator the other day because I've been doing a lot of painting, and it's just stupid to not wear one. Definitely wear a respirator when you're spraying this. This is the nasty stuff. This is worse than lacquer. It will get in your lungs and you'll be able to feel it. But give it a shot. I mean, you know, instead of going out and buying a bunch of Mr. Clear, try this out. Make sure you clean your airbrush out very, very well afterwards, because if it hardens in your airbrush, you might as well throw the airbrush away. So if you have any questions, post them down below. Let me know. I'll try to answer them. I was getting a ton of questions on Facebook, so I figured it'd be easier just to do a video and kind of show you. But again, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. This is Matt Morozic, aka MVM3897, signing out.